Eshe Kamau stood before the mirror, admiring the delicate beadwork on her wedding gown. Tomorrow, she would marry Nick Neo, the man she had loved for 3 years. Both from prominent black African families in Nairobi, their union was to be the social event of the season. "You look beautiful," said Lebo, Eshe's stepsister, entering the room with 2 glasses of champagne. "A toast to your last night as a single woman." Eshe accepted the glass, unaware of the bitter sedative dissolving at the bottom. As daughters of the late businessman Jabari Kamau, Eshe by his first wife and Lebo by his second, they had grown up in the same household but worlds apart. While Eshe inherited her father's business acumen and warm heart, Lebo harbored a darkness that festered with each passing year. "To new beginnings," Lebo said, clinking glasses. Within an hour, Eshe felt strangely disoriented. The room spun as Lebo helped her to bed, whispering that she would take care of everything. As unconsciousness claimed her, Eshe never suspected what would unfold in her absence. Across town, Nick was finalizing details at their new home when his phone buzzed with a message, a video of what appeared to be Eshe stumbling into a hotel with another man. "She's been lying to you," read the attached message from an unknown number. Nick's heart crumpled. The son of a respected black African judge and diplomat, he had always valued honesty above all else. The woman in the video wore Eshe's distinctive silver bracelet, a gift he had given her on their first anniversary. By midnight, as Eshe lay unconscious in her bed, Nick stood outside her apartment building in the rain, his wedding vows torn to pieces in his trembling hands, unaware that the elaborate betrayal orchestrated by Lebo had only just begun. Morning broke with thunderous knocking at Eshe's door. Disoriented and nauseous, she stumbled to answer it, finding Nick's fiery eyes boring into her. Behind him stood his best friend Kamau, looking equally troubled. "Where were you last night?" Nick demanded, his voice a razor cutting through the air. Both men, towering black African figures whose friendship dated back to their school days in Mombasa, created an intimidating presence in her doorway. "What do you mean?" "I was here, feeling unwell after champagne with Lebo," Eshe replied, confusion clouding her features. Her head pounded mercilessly, the residual effects of whatever Lebo had slipped into her drink. Nick thrust his phone into her hands. "Then explain this." The video showed someone wearing Eshe's clothes and distinctive bracelet entering a hotel with a man, faces partially obscured but recognizable enough. The timestamp read 1:37 a.m. "That's not me," Eshe cried, panic rising in her throat. "Nick, you know me. We're getting married today." "The wedding is off," Nick stated coldly. "I've already called everyone. Kamau witnessed me outside your building all night, waiting for you to come home." "You never did." Kamau nodded solemnly. "I was with him, Eshe." He was devastated. As tears streamed down her face, Lebo appeared at the door, feigning concern. "What's happening?" "Oh, Eshe, how could you? I didn't do anything." Eshe protested, looking frantically between the 3 black African faces she trusted most in the world, her fiancé, his best friend, and her stepsister, all now united against her. "My mother warned me about women like you," Nick said, his voice breaking. "I defended you to everyone. Now I look like a fool." As he turned to leave, Eshe collapsed to her knees, the weight of this incomprehensible betrayal crushing her chest as Lebo placed a seemingly comforting hand on her shoulder, hiding a triumphant smile. 3 days after the wedding that never was, Eshe sat hollow-eyed in her apartment, surrounded by unpacked wedding gifts she would need to return. Her phone buzzed with a message from Neo, her childhood friend and cousin who had flown in from Ghana for the wedding. "Meet me at Café Ubuntu. Now." "It's about Lebo." The busy café bustled with patrons, most of them black Africans from various countries who had made Nairobi their home. Neo's serious expression cut through Eshe's fog of despair as she sat down. "I've been investigating," Neo said, sliding a tablet across the table. "Lebo has been planning this for months. Look at these emails." The screen showed correspondence between Lebo and a man named Jomo, arrangements for a special performance on the night before the wedding. Bank transfers. Hotel reservations. She paid him to impersonate your date, Neo explained. And this, he swiped to a receipt for a pharmacist, is for zolpidem, a powerful sedative. Eshe's hand trembled. She drugged me. But why? Why would she destroy my life? There's more, Neo continued grimly. 2 days ago, Lebo met with Nick. Yesterday, she moved into your new house, the one you and Nick bought together. The realization crashed over Eshe like a wave. She wanted him all along. And the business, Neo added. With you disgraced, your father's partners are reconsidering the succession plan. Some are suggesting Lebo take your place. Tears welled in Eshe's eyes as the full scope of her stepsister's betrayal unfolded. All the black African business leaders who had once respected her now whispered about her supposed infidelity, her family name tarnished. What can I do? She whispered. Neo took her hand firmly. Fight back. We start now. As they spoke, across town, Lebo was already redecorating what should have been Eshe's marital home, smiling as Nick stood broken and confused beside her. Kamau's conscience had been eating at him for days. Something about the video hadn't seemed right. As a software engineer, he should have noticed the subtle signs of editing sooner. He parked outside the sprawling home meant for Nick and Eshe, now occupied by Nick and Lebo. The property, in an upscale Nairobi neighborhood known for its prominent black African residents, felt tainted now. Inside, he found Nick staring blankly at wedding photos never to be displayed. I need to show you something, Kamau said, opening his laptop. I analyzed the video frame by frame. It's doctored, professional work, but I found the manipulation markers. Nick looked up, confusion giving way to dawning horror. What are you saying? The woman's face is a composite. Her movements don't match the background's timing. And I checked the hotel's security footage from my cousin who works there, no one matching Eshe's description entered that night. Nick's hands began to shake. If Eshe is innocent. Their conversation halted as Lebo entered, freezing at the sight of Kamau's laptop screen. What's this about? She asked too casually. Kamau stood, his tall frame imposing. We know what you did. The drugging, the fake video, all of it. Lebo's mask slipped, revealing cold calculation. You can't prove anything. Actually, Neo's voice came from the doorway as he entered with Eshe and a police officer. We can. The man you hired confessed everything this morning. 5 black African faces locked in a moment of reckoning, Eshe's dignified pain, Nick's devastating realization, Neo and Kamau's righteous anger, and Lebo's crumbling facade. You were my sister, Eshe said quietly. Why? Because you had everything. Lebo exploded. Father's love, the business, Nick. I was always second choice. The replacement daughter. Well, not anymore. As the officer moved toward Lebo, Nick turned to Eshe, his eyes pleading for forgiveness that seemed impossible to grant after such a profound breach of trust. 1 month later, the prominent black African families gathered at the Kamau estate for a different kind of ceremony than the wedding they had expected. Jabari Kamau's business partners sat in solemn rows as Eshe took her rightful place as head of the company, her voice steady as she addressed them. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired, she said, her gaze sweeping over faces that had once judged her. But truth has a way of emerging, even from the darkest deception. In the back row sat Nick, hollow-eyed and repentant. The investigation had revealed the full extent of Lebo's manipulation, how she had cultivated his insecurities for months, planted seeds of doubt about Eshe's fidelity, and positioned herself as his compassionate friend. Lebo now awaited trial, the charges of drugging and fraud ensuring she would face consequences. But the damage to relationships proved harder to address than legal matters. After the ceremony, Nick approached Eshe in the garden where they had once planned to exchange vows. "I should have trusted you," he said simply. "I failed the most basic test of love." Eshe regarded him calmly, this black African man she had once thought would be her husband, now a stranger in familiar skin. "Yes, you did. Can we ever rebuild?" he asked. "I don't know," she answered honestly. Some betrayals cut too deep. Beside her stood Neo and Kamau, the two black African men who had believed in her innocence and fought for her vindication. Their presence reminded her that while one type of love had faltered, other bonds had proven unbreakable. As Nick walked away, shoulders slumped in recognition of what he had lost, Eshe turned to her future, one she would build on her own terms, with people who had demonstrated the true meaning of loyalty. "Ready?" Neo asked gently. Eshe nodded, stepping forward into a life reclaimed but forever changed, the painful wisdom of betrayal now part of her story but not its conclusion.